What's up, everyone? This is Kwame Awua, your host for FTF Top Bin Talks, presented by FTF Canada, with my co-host Adam James. So we're back. We haven't been back for a long time. The CPL kicks off this weekend, and we have a special guest here with us today. Three-time CPL champion, four-time CPL, I guess, finalist, you would say, in the 4 years that they've been alive. One of my close friends since for over a decade, almost 15 years. One of the most decorated youth soccer players I know. Syracuse Final Four, Syracuse alum. The list goes on and on. U17 Canadian World Cup player, U20 CONCACAF Canada squad. Like I said, an ex-Forge winger, Chris Nanco.
The fake round of applause, man.
Yeah, we gonna get clap. We gonna get some edits in here. And it's gonna be gunshots, a gunshot.
Nah, chill, edit. Man, chill.
Yeah, when someone says something hype, we gotta get a gunshot, pow. A round of applause. The joke with the drum and the tambourine. That we gonna get a couple. But thank you, Chris, for coming on to the podcast. It means a lot to us. I know a lot has been happening since beginning of the year. Me and you, obviously, we talk a lot because we have a group chat that we've had since 9th grade. And just in general, we know each other for a long time. So I know what's going on in your life, but for those who do not know, give them a little rundown of your soccer career. You can slide through the youth if that's too long, because you had a lot going on in your youth.
Yeah, I'll summarize
it. Touch base on the highlights of the youth. Yeah, the cliff notes, and then we'll get into obviously your most recent experience in the CPL.
So I started my career, started basically playing at 4 years old. I was basically born into a family that loved soccer. My older brother played soccer. My dad played soccer. And then, my sister plays soccer as well. I started off playing with Brampton Youth Soccer. And then made a move to Sigma when I was 11 or 12 years old. Then, I've been traveling all around the world, trialed with teams in Europe and places like England,
Talk
Belgium,
about it.
Germany.
Yes, sir.
Teams like Liverpool, Newcastle, Werder Bremen, Wolfsburg.
And this is when you need the gunshots.
Yeah. Club Bruges. So that was a good time. And then I think that kind of got me on the face of Canada soccer and stuff. And then I was playing a year up with the U17 national team. And then we went to the World Cup. Got to play against teams like England, guys like Raheem Sterling. And then, and then I went off to college after that to Syracuse. Went there for 3.5 years, finished early, got my degree, and then got drafted to Philadelphia. But in that time I was with Syracuse, I was with the U20 national team as well. We went to CONCACAF, but couldn't make it past CONCACAF. And then, and then got signed to Philadelphia, and then played there for 2 years with their second team. And then after that, came to Forge, and then 4 years at Forge, 3 championships. That's pretty much a summary of my soccer career.
Hey man,
I feel like just doing the youth part would be an episode in itself. Jesus Christ.
I'm telling you, bro.
So, Chris, just really quickly with that one, you talk about trialing all throughout Europe. How long was that process for you? Was that over a couple years? Did you kind of jump from one club to one club?
Yeah, that was for me, that process was pretty fast because I started going there, I think, 2010. What were we, 15 years old, maybe 16 years old? I remember my first trial was 2010 with in England with Liverpool and Newcastle. And I remember that one like it was yesterday, because I had to make like a tough decision. That was like one of the toughest decisions I had to make at a younger age for my soccer career, because my grandma just passed away the month before. And it was either I go to Jamaica and go to the funeral of my family, or I go to England and go on trial. And I was talking to my mom about it, and she was like, okay, like, what do you think your grandma would want for you? And then I'm like, I don't know. And then she's like just trying to convince me, like, yeah, like, you know, you spent a lot of time with your grandma. Like, it's okay if you miss the funeral. Like, she's still with you, all this stuff. And then, like, you know, this is a chance that you're never gonna get, like, you might not get again. So I ended up, like, you know, going to England and going on trial and stuff. And then that's kind of like what projected me to go to the national team and like kind of kickstart off my career like that. But yeah, like honestly, that was over, like, I want to say no more than 2 years. It was like a year. It started, the first one with Liverpool was and Newcastle was September of 2010. And then 2011 was like the World Cup. So in that time, I made it onto the national team, I think later that year. First camp was in Jamaica, did really well at the camp. And then we started CONCACAF the next year to qualify for like that summer of 2011. So yeah, it was pretty quick.
No, that's crazy. Jesus.
Bro, I won't even lie, man. Them times, because obviously I was in and out of Sigma, and I've known you from when you played at Battle Cats and I played on Uruguay with like me, Rich, and Christian, and you, Justin, Kyle.
Yeah,
and
those are the rivalries.
The rest of the guys, those are the rivalries, you know what I mean? But obviously the rivalries, Bobby saw something, Bobby, Costa, all those guys saw something in us, and they were like, you know what? We need to bring these athletic techie mans with these super techie mans on one team. What do you think? Yeah. Like, why do you think out of all the teams, only our two teams are what made up, I would say, the golden generation of Sigma? Like, he could have went to any other teams. Of course, we had guy like one-offs like Orestes and stuff like that, but Orestes was Greek, so I kind of like put him in like I put him in that Bobby family, you know, the family tree.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think made him look at our two teams? I know we were like two of the top 5 teams in Canada at the time, but like there was also Markham with teams like with players like Fraser Aird at the time, Jordan Hamilton, and then you had Mark Wadid, who was at Sigma for a little bit, but you had like other guys like DJ, Daniel Jota, like guys that were doing well in Ontario soccer at the time, but Bobby and them didn't look at that. What do you think? I know what I think why he chose us, but why do you think he chose those two teams to go from?
I think when you look at it, especially when you look at like those younger days, like you see and you look at like Uruguay and Brampton, there was so much hype around, you know, like us playing against each other, playing against each other in like all the Oakville tournaments and stuff like that.
Every tournament, bro.
And like all these different tournaments and stuff. And like you see like the what was it, like all of the accomplishments that, you know, Uruguay's having, and then all of the accomplishments that Brampton's having. And then it's like throughout the year, we're both like going in our own paths, and we're having like all these, like winning all these trophies along the way. And then it's like, okay, big tournament comes, time to clash. So like, I feel like you didn't really like, we would have that with like other teams. For example, like Brampton and Ajax, we had like a little rivalry and stuff like that. But like the more consistent rivalry over the years was the Brampton Uruguay rivalry. And then you see, you know, you guys, I feel like Uruguay played a different structure and a different type of football at a young age, at a really young age, that kind of resembled like European style with like all the technical ability. And, you know, like your guys like mental was like above everybody else, whereas Brampton was like, you know, like raw athleticism. And, you know, like obviously we knew what we were doing and everything like that, but it was more direct. And like whereas like Uruguay was more like, you know, more intricate and stuff like that. And I feel like when you look at the players that he took from each team, and he knew the system that he wanted, you know, obviously he plays a 4-3-3, likes to keep possession of the ball, and then likes to get in behind. So you took like basically the attacking players of Brampton that like to get in behind, and you know, that are good at 1v1 and stuff like that, and more like direct, like in their mental and stuff like that. And then he took the intricate players with that mindset, and you know, good passing range and everything like that, and good vision and stuff, and put them in the midfield, and it kind of just, you know, it kind of just clicked. So I think that's like a big reason in what why he took like players from Uruguay and Brampton and made it kind of like the base and like the core of the team. And then, you know, you had those one-off players, like, you know, like you mentioned, like Wadid and stuff like that were doing good in their own, on their own teams and stuff, but their team wasn't doing that great, but they were doing good as an individual, and they kind of like fitted into that mold as well. So that's, I think that's the main reason in why he took the players that he took. And also because like you look at other guys, like say like J Hams, you know, Frazier and stuff like that, and they were kind of connected to like the provincial path, right? Whereas like all the guys from Brampton, we went to district, we went to regionals, but then we stopped at regionals because we didn't like the way things were going and stuff like that. We didn't like the coach at the time and everything like that. So so yeah, we were kind of like, you know, like on our own. And then I think like with the Uruguay guys, I think all those guys were on their own too, except for like you, who did provincial a little bit. And then I feel like that's why you came on a little bit later. So, so yeah, like I think that plays a factor in it as well too.
See, and Adam, obviously this is like this part that we're talking about is more of Ontario soccer, and he probably wouldn't know this. Obviously, growing up, like he said, because Brampton's on the west side, is on the west side of Toronto, and like obviously when you're younger, you only play in your district. So we would never play these guys throughout the years, but whenever we had the big tournaments, Niagara Falls, like the travel tournaments, we used to go on the schedule and be like, all right, yo, we gonna whoop everybody in the group. Like, when do we play Battle Cats? Like, that's what like, yo, when do we play Brampton? Yeah, that's what literally everybody's like, yo, when is Brampton play Uruguay, or when is Brampton play Aaron Mills? When is like when we play, like when do the top 4 teams play against each other? And for some reason, these guys always set us up in the semifinals whenever we played these guys. I'm like, bro, this don't make no sense.
Bro, it's smart. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? As someone who now runs the tournament, it's really smart. Like, it's exactly
smart,
what you want
bro.
to try.
They know what they're doing,
but
bro.
my thing is like, why would you put the two top teams to play each other in the semifinals?
Bro, nothing is ever random, bro. Nothing is ever random, bro.
And that's what I learned when I got older. So obviously, but going back to Bobby bringing our 2 teams together, and then we can move on from this. If you really think about it, it's hard for 2 teams that are that good and players that are that good to want to join forces with each other. Like, what do you think made the transition so seamless? Remember, a lot of us on our team are from the hood. You know, like we from Jane and Finch.
Yeah,
Jane is like we really not, we have a chip on our shoulder. I'm not saying you guys don't either, but like we really get it from the bottom. Our coach was like, man, like we were a resemblance of our coach. And if you know Rob, he was knocking out other coaches when we were 10. Yo, Adam, this guy was giving guys combos at tournaments, bro, giving other coaches combos. So like we were resemblance, but like how easy it was for us to mesh together when we got to Sigma. I think that's a testament to Bobby and to ourselves as well. Cause like we really, as soon as we got together, like we really rocked with each other. Obviously we had a past history where like you can have guest players on your team for certain tournaments. So like if we were in a tournament that Brampton wasn't in, we'd be like, all right, yo, we're gonna bring Kyle, we're gonna bring Chris, we're gonna bring Jamie, and we're gonna bring Jamie Garcia. And we're gonna put them on our team where we have me, where we have Christian, and we're gonna bring Justin. And then we're gonna bring Christian. We have Christian, Richie, Jacob. I'm like, bro, that's a starting 11. At that time, that was the greatest team ever assembled.
Bro, and I feel like if you look at it, and I'll connect it to like some professional teams, but like if you look at it, it's like, for example, like you guys, like, okay, you guys were like a good team, good players and stuff like that. And then same with us. And we played each other so much, and it was like high level, like, you know, high level games and everything like that. So like I feel like the respect was there between us. Like, okay, like these guys aren't no pushover team, you know what I'm saying? These guys are balling out just like we're balling out. And then you know, you put us together, it's like nobody's like envious of the other person. It's just like, you know, we're on like a mutual like respect. It's like, yo, like you guys have won things, we have won things. Like, and then, you know, like we're all just trying to be better and everything like that. But it's like, for example, like when you look at like another big rivalry, obviously El Clasico. You look at Barcelona, you look at Real Madrid. Even like especially back in the day, where a lot of their players were Spanish players, and then they're going to play they're playing against each other in the most heated match in the world and whatever, and then they're going to play on the same national team, and they're balling out on their national team together. So it's like, obviously there's probably a little bit more like, guys like get on each other and stuff like that. But like at the same time, when they come together, they're in it for one purpose and one purpose only, and it's to win championships. You know what I'm saying? So
100%.
Yeah, no, and I actually, it's funny because I know like you guys talk about you guys grew up with rivalries. So did we. Like I grew up with rivalries. I still I don't know if you guys, I still feel that sometimes, like now coaching, where like now I'm coaching for the same club I grew up playing for, and we're playing against a club that I fucking hate.
Yep.
Fucking hate them just because. But it's part of it's like it's a mutual respect thing. Like I all that stuff. But do you guys find how important was that kind of idea of being like, no, this is a rivalry, we don't fucking lose?
Bro, I mean, it was like I said, like if you're I think this generation now is different. We were cut from the cloth. We're like, bro, if I lost a game, bro, I'm crying. Like, you don't understand.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
Like, yo, if we lost to Brampton, bro, I'm like, bro, my eyes are red. Like, we would get second place, and like people are like, now people are like, a second place is not bad, bro. I'm tossing that in the garbage, bro.
It was bad.
Now we're giving
bro.
away participation. Yeah, it was bad crying. We're like, you wouldn't get over it until you play these dudes again, bro. You was not getting over it, bro. You was like, nah.
I was like crying from the field back home with the hiccups and everything.
Yeah, I was like
not running down my nose.
With the snow. Oh yeah, bro. Like I think that's what made it different, bro. We were like, nah, we took those plastic trophies to heart, bro. We was like, nah. Yeah. And the way the announcers were back in the day, and the winner, the champion, nah, you trying to play us, bro. And we like 10, 12 years old. I'm like, nah, I'm not losing to these guys ever again. And like till this day, we still remember those. Like we remember games like vividly. Like we'll talk about the time when the BMO field, when they first started that little league with our age. And bro, we were playing. We beat Battle Cats in one game. And I think it was like to win the league, bro. Richie scores a free kick. Right after, bro, we go to Chris's birthday barbecue.
Yo, I was so mad, bro. I was so mad, bro.
It's crazy, bro. We beat them 2-1, and then we're like, damn, we got our clothes in our bag. Like, yo, we supposed to go to this guy. Like, do we
bro. And then we went, these guys came straight.
You're going there with your
birthday,
medals?
Bro.
You're wearing your medals over top?
Nah, bro, that medal came out. Yo, nobody was allowed to bring anything into my birthday party except for gifts for me. That's it.
Yeah, bro. Like, stuff like that. You was holding that, yo. Like, that shit was real, bro. So, obviously, like, the rivalry makes a whole different. Now, obviously, on the West Coast, like you said, you have that too. But till this day, like, we never hated Battle Cats. But we knew eventually, crazy as it sounds, eventually I'm like, yo, eventually we're all going to end up on the same team. I thought that. I'm like, yo, there's no way, because good players naturally gravitate towards each other because you want to become better. You know what I mean? So
like even like, I think like when they made Sigma, and then like I know like obviously you guys got word of like who they're bringing in, we got word of who they're bringing in and stuff like that, and then like that's kind of like what helped us make the decision. Okay, like are we gonna stay on Brampton or are we gonna make the transition over? And it's like, yo, when we heard like all like you Uruguay mans are coming, like some of the nice guys from
no brainer.
I'm like, bro, like like I'm gonna go, bro, because I want to play with these guys. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Well, I think like that's the most important side though, is like you understand the rivalry is not there because you're shit kicking the other team.
Yeah,
it's because there's that mutual respect thing, and like from like just like development as a person, like you're like, it's so important because you have that mutual respect. So it makes total sense that once you merge, you're like, no, I know exactly what they're like, and I respect what they do. And as when you play against someone, you're like, I know exactly. I want to play with that person. I want to play with them. I want to give them the ball. I want to get in that space to receive the ball from them and do all those kind of things, right? Like just from like the development side, even just from a person, but also the footballing side, like that's so key. And I think that's kind of what we're lacking a little bit, where everyone's fucking mates now. You don't care about really beating the other team. You want to, but there's not that like need to factor.
Yeah. So obviously we all go to Sigma. You guys go to Sigma. I go to provincial route for a couple of years. I go for a year. And I'm like, God damn, I don't know if like, don't get me wrong. For me, like when I was at provincial, I was able to recognize what type of football I actually fit in with the most. You know what I mean? I had to find myself as a player to be like, okay, provincial, old school, Jim Canavan, Ian Skitch, 4-4-2. I grew up in the futsal mold, obviously playing on Uruguay. I was more of like, I had the athleticism, raw athleticism. I mean, you see my skin tone, but the raw athleticism being from Ghana, you know what I mean? But then obviously learning under Rob Correa and all those guys, playing with all those guys, Christian and stuff like that. I was like, okay, I go to provincial. I didn't fit their mold of how they want. They wanted something from me that I didn't learn growing up. So obviously in a 4-4-2, you know, like wide midfielders, you're running 18 to 18, going down the line, crossing it. That's their old school way of thinking. Came from the Everton mold, whatever. I was going there wearing turf shoes on turf instead of cleats, megging guys, dribbling, doing 1-2s, doing skill moves, all that stuff. And they wanted their guys to push line cross. So that's why you see the people that were hyped in Ontario soccer, because at that time, you can't lie, Ontario, like playing for provincial, was people felt like that was like the end all be all. Like that was like where you needed to be in the provincial.
That was like
stage.
the pinnacle. Yeah, that was like the pinnacle.
That was a pinnacle. But I knew, because obviously I went to high school with Christian, Rich, and all that stuff. So I was still getting my flavor of Spanish league and the intricacies of that. And then when I go to provincial, I'm like, okay, I gotta find a way to do what I can do, but try to stay on the field as well. But when you see the people that were on that provincial team and you see where their careers have landed, you can kind of understand why the people that went to Sigma, their careers have lasted a longer time and have lasted at a higher level. So obviously, yeah, we go to Sigma. I won't even lie. To me, at that time, our age, you were the best player. Like, I think when you came back, when I knew it, what solidified it, Adam, when this guy got the Neymar haircut, the mohawk, and came back from Germany, I think it was when you were at Werder. Was it Werder Bremen or Wolfsburg? It was one of those W teams.
Probably Werder Bremen, because I was there for like longer.
Yeah. This guy came. He was at Werder Bremen for like a month and a half. He pulls up to one training session, and bro, he was already the fastest guy on the team. So I was like, hey, this guy's fast, whatever. And this guy, bro, I'm like, nah, this guy is something about him was just different. I'm like, nah, I was like, nah, he's out of here. I'm like, there's no, because we're at this point, we're like 11th grade, just started 11th grade. So like late, when we trying to Centennial's kind of cold. So like October, like late times. I'm like, bro, nah, this guy's actually out of here. I'm like, yo, you're not going to school. There's no way. Adam, when I tell you this man was like, we had to put the man attacking mid just because he wouldn't track back. He was literally thinking he was Neymar. He couldn't put the man on the wing because then it was a liability. Like, he would get the ball because he was faster than him, but like, it wasn't even he was just running past people. It was like, this guy was skilling, running, everything. I'm like, nah, bro. Someone signed this man off the rip. So like,
really,
I don't think people.
That's like when I
don't think people
like,
seen that.
Yeah, I feel like that was when I was like playing, bro. I was playing all over the place. So like, I was like, okay, like I would go to Europe and I would train there and stuff. Come back, I'll be playing like school soccer, Sigma.
And then you go away to national team.
National team. My school had a soccer league, like in itself, like a futsal league kind of thing, and I'll be playing in that. So I was literally playing soccer like 3-4 times a day sometimes. So like, bro, like I was like I don't even know, man. Like I was always touching the ball and stuff. Like there was like nothing else I would do. And like I see like people be like, oh, going to parties and going to the movies and all this stuff. And I'll be like, yo, like I have practice and I have this and I have that and everything like that. Like I wanted to go to all the parties and stuff. I went to some, obviously, but like I was like, yo, soccer. Like nothing else mattered, bro.
And I think that's like I said, cut from a different cloth. Like we were always in healthy competition with each other, everybody on the team. So like when we seen you come back from you, I'm like, yo, we're like, yo, I'm like, we gotta step up our game.
Yeah.
So imagine stepping up our game, then you see next one, Kyle goes. And I'm like, yo, next thing you know, we go to like Kyle goes to Belgium, you and Kyle go to Belgium. Just come back. I'm like, yo, Kyle's a different man. I'm like, nah,
That's it,
what's
bro.
going on?
It's
Yeah,
just
you come
different out
back,
there, bro. Especially at the youth level out there, like I'll say this, especially at the youth level out there, when you like say you're a kid, so we're a kid, like say me and you, Kwam, we're kids growing up, and all we want to do is play soccer. And then, you know, obviously the way things are set up in Canada, like, you know, soccer is not like number one. So when you go to like places in Europe, like these places like where soccer is number one, bro, and like they're putting soccer over school, like even when you're younger, like I understand like you know, like college and stuff like that. I'm like, no, like when you're young, bro, like your school schedule is built around soccer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like some of the guys, like I remember because I was there for so long, so they made me like go to school with the guys like for like 1 week and stuff. And they trained twice a day, and then they went to one class. And I was like, bro, what? And the class was to speak English. I'm like, yo, what?
Oh, you're killing that.
I was like, yo, there's no way. I'm like, bro, I have to, bro, everything I got, like I have to do something to get over here, bro. So like bro, soccer was like number one. Like I didn't want to do anything else. Like when I was back home, didn't want to do anything else. And like, bro, like I almost ended up like not even passing high school because I was just gone and just doing
soccer.
everything.
Yeah. So that was another thing. So fast forward, like now you realize, okay, the Canada's not ranked high enough for you to get a visa and all that stuff, all the complications of a Canadian going overseas at a young age. You focus on getting yourself into school. You're one of the later guys. I think me, you, Rich, and Kyle were one of the last people to sign for schools. I don't know, but we were the last for everything. So it was like, I mean, so you come back, you're like, damn, I need to do summer school, all that stuff. Obviously, the pressure is definitely on you. Taking the SATs, you realize, okay, I need to go to school. What was your mentality when you first stepped into Syracuse after all the youth experience that you've had? Like, what was your mentality going into Syracuse?
I think honestly, because I went to Syracuse, it and it's only 4 hours away from home. There's other Canadian guys that I've known, like played against a little bit, that were already there. Like for example, like Jordan Morales, Skylar Thomas, like those guys. And then like the fact that like Syracuse was like basically like looking at me and like scouting me since I was like 15, like when all that like first national team stuff happened and stuff. Like, I feel like that kind of gave me confidence in them. And then like they stuck with me since I was 15, even knowing I didn't have the grades. They like stuck with me in the recruiting process until like the last minute or whatever.
Loyalty, yep.
So like I feel like that kind of like gave me the confidence, like these guys like really want me, and they like, and I'll be like something special to the program and stuff. Because obviously like before, like nobody talks about college. Like obviously they do more now, but back when we were kids, like nobody talked about college, going to play in US and going to college and stuff. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like I thought it was like, okay, you do your youth level here and then you try to go to Europe. That's it. And then but yeah, like all those factors I think like kind of gave me confidence. And like, you know, the coach, like he's like he wanted me to play from the jump, and like, you know, starting as a freshman and everything like that. It was also a 4-3-3, so I was used to playing that with Sigma. So all those factors kind of came into play, and I was like, you know what, like this is somewhere that I can ball out, and you know, like I fit in because they love Canadians. They play the same formation and stuff. They just want basically like, you know, I think they looked at me to like defend a lot more. But you know, it's like obviously you're gonna have to make adjustments and stuff like that. I think it was harder for me to adjust to like the physical part because like America just next level, flying up and down the field and stuff like that, especially in a 4-3-3 with the wingers. So yeah, I remember like the first few games I was cramping every game in like the 60th minute and stuff like that. But then like I got used to it eventually. But yeah, I think those factors was like, yeah, kind of gave me the confidence to be like, yo, I could go here and like, you know, like I can play ball here.
Damn, man. I mean, yeah, we were, when we used to talk about school, I think the reason why we kind of accepted us being able to take the school route was when we saw Becker and Emery get drafted. Becker going number 3 and seeing what he did in college soccer. Like, we know Becker's background before he went to college. Like, we thought he was gone. We thought he was off this too. Like,
yeah,
Crystal Palace wanted the man. We was like, yo, dog, I don't know where you think you're going. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
Bex, you're out of here. But
that was
I
a
mean,
big thing for me too, because I remember like, yeah, those guys ended up going to college, Boston College, Oregon State, and I remember like those two teams like were recruiting me too, and I'm like, yo, like these big, like, because obviously we looked up to those guys, like, because obviously there's no
Adam, you see
professional
this?
players.
Every school is recruiting this man, bro. Every school. Me,
we like
Richie, we was taking what we could get.
Yeah, but like obviously like we looked up to those guys because like obviously Canada didn't have like a professional league and stuff like that. So like, you know, like, and then these guys were like on Sigma older age groups and stuff. And like, I'm like, yo, like, I remember from when we went to like Holland, like those guys were playing in the games and we're watching the older team. I'm like, yo, who are these guys, bro? And then so yeah, when I like knew like Becker was going to Boston College, Emery's going to like Oregon State, and those teams were like recruiting me and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, like if these guys are doing it, then it must be like, you know, like something that's actually like worthwhile and stuff like that, you know? So yeah, like guys like that, like it's definitely like having like the ability to like look up to players like that. And like now like kids have the ability to look up to more professional players and stuff like that. So that's definitely a big factor for Canada soccer and stuff like that.
I mean, it's kind of huge considering half at least at the starting 11 of the national team were college kids.
Yeah,
looking at the World Cup, like fucking Kamal was at Syracuse, Kyle was at UConn, Rich was at Akron, Alistair was at St. John's and Wake, like
Tajon's
Syracuse. Like it's insane.
Yeah,
it's pretty insane. Like
you know what's crazy? Richie was supposed to go to Syracuse first, and he messed up.
Fact. We were just talking about this.
It was me and Kyle at UConn, and it was supposed to be Chris and Rich at Syracuse.
Bro, no,
Rich
I was supposed to go to UConn, bro. I was supposed to go to UConn.
Okay. Yeah, you were supposed to go to UConn, and then you ended up going to Syracuse. I went to UConn. Rich was supposed to go to Syracuse, and he ended up going to Akron, and I was going to transfer from UConn to Akron. And I was like, nah, man. Like, I'm like, I already built I was already 2 years into UConn. I was like, nah.
It was supposed to be me and you at UConn and Kyle and Rich at Syracuse. And then Kyle went to UConn, you went to UConn, and then I went to Syracuse, and then Rich went to Akron.
He was supposed to go to Syracuse, and he had to sit out like a semester, and then he ended up going to Akron. I was like, damn, bro. Like, who knows what would have happened if Rich went to Syracuse? You know what I mean? But you're in Syracuse, 3.5 years, 4 seasons. Your first year, you guys don't make NCAA tournament. The next 3 years, you guys kind of turn up. Every time we played against you guys won against us. But for some reason, my freshman year, we went further than you guys. Granted, we had Andre Blake in it, and then Kyle was just on a mad team. Kyle was on a mad team. We had Andre Blake in it, and then Kyle was on a mad team. I don't know what happened. Like the first 10 games of the season, Kyle had like 4 goals. Then like the last 10, the man just went berserk. And that's when I was like, ooh, Kyle might be gone, bro. I was like,
yeah, bro.
Yes. So talk about like the different formations that you guys had to play. Because you guys went from a 4-3-3 to a 3-5-2.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like 3-5-2 was the best formation for you guys to succeed as a team.
Yeah.
But for you as a player, like what was was it a tough transition, or like how were you able to like transition into that position as a second striker?
Yeah, so I feel like for me, like at that point in time, I think that it was, I wouldn't say an easy transition. It was just, I feel like for me, it was more fun because all I was doing was mainly focusing on attacking. Whereas when we were in the 4-3-3, I was looked at to defend a lot and to run up and down the line. And then, you know, when you have like wing backs that are running up and down the line and you have to defend them, I would be tired and I wouldn't be able to attack to the best of my ability. So I remember there was one game, I remember we played Georgetown, and Keegan Rosenberry from Colorado, he was playing, and bro, that guy's the most fit machine I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's my guy. Shout out Keegan.
Yeah, and then I like, it's funny because like then I went to Philly and played with him in Philly and stuff. But yeah, like he was running up and down the line and I was just dead, bro. I couldn't keep up. And then when we went to the 3-5-2, I was playing up top as a second striker. And usually the way they set it up was like they would put a bigger striker and then they would put me. So like that striker will be like, you know, coming into the game, bouncing off, laying the ball off, holding it up and stuff. And I was looked at as to just running behind, and like, you know, I would be able to still drift out to like the left side where I'm comfortable, and then like do my thing. And, you know, so I feel like that was kind of helped me. And like they said, like, okay, like we're gonna play 3-5-2, you're gonna play up top, but you're mainly just going to focus on like attacking and stuff like that and do your thing. And then like, I remember my senior year, they gave me the freedom to do like literally whatever I wanted. And like, I feel like, you know, there's some players that, you know, strive for that. Like, you know, like, and like, that's just how I've been growing up. Like, obviously, you know, that I cater like my game. I like to watch the Brazilian players. I love the Brazilian style of football and doing all the tricks and just having freedom to play with the ball. So like that, I think that kind of gave me more freedom to do that. So yeah, I kind of liked at Syracuse. I liked the 3-5-2 more than I like the 4-3-3, even though I came from a 4-3 background.
That's definitely for sure. And obviously you're going into, I think that's the difference between college soccer now. I mean, obviously a lot of players that are in youth soccer are not really going through the college ranks. And that's in all sports right now, because a lot of guys are getting signed younger and just willing to play professional minutes, whether it's at a lower level, rather than going away to school. The school experience, though, no one's going to take that away from you. Just like me, you've experienced the Final Four, but your school is predominantly a basketball school, just like how UConn was. So just talking about like the college life and how we had to transition from living with our parents at 17, 18 years old to living by ourselves for an extended period of time. And like eventually we didn't even want to come back home because like we were our own people. So I tell people a lot is like, we learned a lot from going to college, even though, yeah, if we were able to sign a homegrown deal or whatever, like we probably would have taken it. But like my college experience, I would never trade it for anything. Like I would always want to go through what I've gone through it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel that because like especially me, like growing up, like from like my mom raised me like single parent family, and like so like everything I did, it was like literally my mom taking me there, like taking me here, like giving me money for this, giving me money for that and stuff. So like, and then like I kind of like experienced like living on my own earlier, because obviously like I was going to like Europe and for extended periods of time, and like going with the national team and stuff like that. And then but like the college experience like is different because like when I was going to Europe and like national team, like, you know, everything's taken care of for you and everything like that. But like college, you still gotta like find your own way. Like, like they give you like meal plans or whatever it is, but you still have to put the effort into like make a schedule, go eat, go to class, go to training, everything like that. And like, and then like be responsible enough to like other things like parties and you know, like the outside
social
environment
aspect, the social aspect.
I think that's kind of that kind of like gets you like set up for life and stuff. Like, and then especially like, you know, like when we're gonna go play pro, like you can play anywhere in the world basically. So you like as a player, you have to be kind of good on your own. Like you can be, you can one year you can, and especially like I feel like in like Northern America, like this continent and stuff, like, you know, you see a lot of guys like go to different teams like year after year after year and stuff like that. So like you have to be able to like adjust and be good on your own and find your own way. And I think college really like kind of like taught us that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's nice for you guys too. Like those are two humongous schools to be able to go to as well. You know what I mean? Like, buddy, I'm just thinking about all the trouble I would have gotten because I've been like, I'm going to every basketball game possible.
Bro, Syracuse is ranked top 5 party schools every single year, bro. I was like, bro, this is setting me up to fail, bro.
Bro, UConn couldn't do that because our campus was a town in itself, but that's what made it worse because like imagine like 25,000, 30,000 people your age on campus. Like we was literally just doing whatever. Like, yo, my friends were working at Panda Express. I was like, bro, you're my class. Like, yo, give me some free food. So we was doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? But 100% the independence is definitely there. UConn, when I was there, we won a national championship for basketball. So you can only imagine how that went. We won women's and men's national championship in 2013. And shout out to them winning again, 2023, UConn, you know the vibes. But like just celebrate, just being part of that, like you felt like you were part of a whole community. And like obviously you built relationships that are gonna last forever. So I mean, a lot of people look down at the college route, but I always tell guys that are looking into college and whether they're trying to sign a first team deal, obviously if the people are going to throw money at you, you'd be dumb not to take it 100%. Like you still have family and parents that can help you handle that aspect of signing a homegrown. But like if you want to experience real independence, like school, and if you're a baller, you're a baller. Like you can still leave school after 1 year, but I think like just having that 1 year or a semester of experience, bro, I think personally it builds character.
Yeah.
Oh,
as long
massively.
as you do it right. Yeah.
Well, I think and I think with us it's just that like I feel like a lot of us would have taken the other route and just went and played pro, but like now you see like there's the amount of opportunities back then were not even close to the amount of opportunities that the kids have now. So like, yeah, that's just 100%. I mean, that kind of like pushed us that way. But like, I feel like if we were able to go pro, like there's no doubt in my mind that all of us would have went pro.
Bro, you think if these guys were throwing fucking 150 grand a year at 16, 17, and I can live at home I live across the field from TFC facility. What? Come on. I mean, that's I was signing with my eyes closed, bro. Come on. But yeah,
man, was that Kemba Walker year? Was that Kemba Walker?
Kemba Walker was 2011, 2013, 14 was Shabazz Napier.
Oh yeah, I actually do remember that.
Yeah. Those guys are some ballers, bro.
Shabazz. Yo, dog. When I tell you, like, honestly, I think that was one of the most clutchest basketball games, like series of basketball games I've ever seen. Like the way the man was going off, I was like, nah, this don't make no sense. It was to the point where LeBron James was like, yo, I want this guy on my team. That's how crazy the man went. And then LeBron got traded back to Cleveland right after. But hey, now Shabazz went to Miami and LeBron got traded to Cleveland.
That sucks.
I mean, at least it happened, but fast forward, because obviously we could talk all day. You get drafted to the Philadelphia Union. You're there for 2 years with the second team. You played against some players. You played with some players that I've played with recently. Like Joshua Yarrow, who was I don't know if he went first or second in the draft to Philadelphia Union, but he spent some time with you at the Bethlehem Steel as well.
Yeah.
How do you think the level of the USL compared to the CPL? Sorry.
I feel like the level of USL, I think the level of USL is better than the CPL just because you have more guys and more experience in that league. Whereas like in the CPL, like you have guys that are first year pros at all different ages. Like you have young guys that are first year pros, you have guys that are 25 that are first year pros, you have guys that are 28 that are first year pros. You know what I'm saying? So like there's more experience in the USL, and it's like the way everything's run, like it's a bigger market. The way everything's run is, they have history and everything like that. They know what they're doing and everything. Everything's already like solidified, you know what I'm saying? So but yeah, like the level, I would say personally the USL is better. And it's probably easier to say that too, because like there's so many teams, there's so many different players. So like like
the competition
obviously going to be greater, like so. But yeah, I mean, like obviously the CPL like it's going to take time to grow and everything like that. And like I will say, like from year one to like now, the CPL has gotten better and the competition has gotten better. But yeah, I think like the USL is still up there.
I mean, we're both on that. Kwame and I are both on that side of the fence as well. And again, it's like you talked about, it's established, it's been around a lot longer, and it's fully a men's league. You talk about when you came in, like you're like, yeah, okay, I was a draft pick and now I'm coming down. It still had that affiliation with the MLS and stuff at the time. It'll be interesting to kind of see how MLS Next affects USL for the next little while, because that could be
honestly, playing there last year, MLS Next is definitely I haven't played a USL game, obviously, for those that I know. I'm injured right now, but MLS Next it's definitely going to be a third tier league just because a lot of guys, like, they're not sending a lot of guys down per se. The guys that are probably from ages 21 and up that aren't getting first team minutes are usually going to go on loan to USL teams just because of the competition aspect and just because of the age difference. USL, MLS Next Pro is literally just going to be for academy products that just signed homegrowns. So like that college threshold, like that didn't go to college, are just going to play MLS Next Pro.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, I wonder if it'll take that little bit where you don't have those younger players now stepping into that environment right away who are good enough at the time. Like it'll be interesting to see how that kind of affects USL long term, or even some of the younger players long term, right? But no, like what I was gonna say was I think like that's the biggest thing. I think like the USL championship and how good of a level that is, like that should be the aspiration for the CPL.
Yeah.
Like we're not gonna get to an MLS level. We don't have 250 million people in the country. Like,
and that's the
38.
That's the sad part about it.
It's tough, but if we can create like a sustainable league where, again, and the most important thing for me is that as quickly as you can get there, is it becomes a men's league. Like you need men in the league, not so many kids. Because again, like, you know, one of the guys I'm super happy he finally got his move was Marco Bustos. He's in Sweden now playing. But if he's playing against kids from MLS teams who are now fullbacks every week and he's dicing them, that's not really indicative of an MLS level because those kids have been sent from MLS teams down there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas on the flip side, if that kid is doing really well against guys like Bustos, and you look at, I mean, the new guy at Vancouver now, Gail Sandoval, coming from Liga MX, if there's a young center back who does really well against the older guys consistently, someone's going to take a chance on them because of their age. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's that kind of fine line where the quicker they can get to where you have this whole group of where it's sustainable enough, there's enough money in it where they can make a living at it and playing and doing that thing. Like, I think you can see the league really start to pop off. And
and you think it's crazy for someone like me who was actually like, when I was in the CPL, I always stood 10 toes down for the CPL. Like, people talk down, I'd be like, yo, Forge will beat half of your teams. But I also tell the truth. And you know me, Chris, like, Chris is always like, bro, I know you're telling the truth, but you don't have to say it all the time.
Bro, sometimes I didn't like to stand beside this guy because I hear somebody say something, I'll be like, I know what's coming, man.
Just start walking.
But like, the thing is, like, for me, where obviously how I was raised, I'm like, yo, you gotta be, I don't know why people just can't be honest from the rip. Like, there's nothing wrong with honesty because then no one can hold anything against you. So if you pull up and tell people, like, yo, the CPL is this, the CPL is that, and then someone goes there and plays a team from the CPL, they're like, yo, this shit is trash. Their perception of it that was probably already bad is even worse. Rather than you're like, yo, it's all right. And then they could get like, oh shoot, this is actually better than I thought it was. So you know what I mean? Like, bro, like, you got to lower the expectations, because then when people come in and they see and they're surprised, more people are more surprised than they are disappointed. That's what's going to get people to look at the league a lot more, because you're going to have more people talking positive about it. So for me, obviously, I had to wait, I think, after the first year that we won, before I started talking smack, because I'm like, yo, let me get a medal first, and then let my shit fly. But other than that, like, the transition, both of us obviously came from MLS clubs, and we came to Forge at the same time. The transition from training every day with grown men, like people that have been pro, high level, going to the CPO, my biggest thing as my transition, like the worst thing about my transition was that like anybody else, I underestimated the league because it was brand new. And I think a lot of players on our team did the same thing because of how stacked and experienced our team was. We went into the CPL thinking, like, if we play the way we play, we should be fine. Like, we thought it was going to be a walk in the park. And we got punched in the face the first 10 games of the season.
I definitely say I underestimated it too. Because I remember it was like first year, and then like we started a game in or whatever. We started
Dominican was like, yo, and we were whooping people. I'm like, nah, man, preseason, come on.
Yeah,
was
and then
fooling
we
teams.
went into the games and like the start of the season, and we were getting like it handed to us, bro. And then like remember,
Yeah,
I was pissed off because like I wasn't playing good at all, and then I found
yeah.
myself on the bench, and then
Hmm.
like I was getting down on myself, everything like that, and then like I remember like me and you were having to talk, and you're like,
Yeah.
yo, like you just gotta be positive and like just do what you can do because obviously like you can be a starter on this team, whatever. And then like I started turning up in like halfway through the season. And then,
Hmm.
so yeah, like I remember, like yeah, I underestimated it heavily.
Yeah, heavily. I mean, and that's what a lot of people do. And our experience at CPL, obviously, we both played for Forge 3 years, went to 3 finals, CONCACAF semifinals, COVID Cup. I guess that's like our version of the NBA bubble. We got a bubble trophy. We got a bubble trophy. Like that whole experience from 2019, obviously to 2021 when I played, and then obviously you winning it the year after, a tougher year in 2022. But those first 3 years, since this is only what we can talk about, like what do you think was the biggest takeaway from year to year? Like how do you think that we were able to continue to keep like elevate our games each year?
Yeah, I mean, like the first year, obviously we had like so many guys that, you know, came from like Sigma or came from like playing against each other or with each other, whatever it was. So like the chemistry was there. So we started off like, yeah, like we started off as a team, like overall, we started off really well. And then I think like that's kind of like what gave us the platform and the base to start off with. And then, you know, the second year, we're like, okay, like we need to get better. You know, we still have the core guys, we bring in a couple guys, whatever. And then, but we're like other teams are bringing in whole new rosters or like like half the guys are going somewhere else and they're bringing in half a roster or whatever it is. So, you know, the chemistry's still not there for them. They're all over the place with stuff, but we're just still going from the first year, what we learned, what we like built on and everything, and taking that to the next level. And, you know, like adding in more tactics, you know, still building the chemistry with each other, and stuff like that, just growing the relationship with the team and the partnerships with the players and the individual guys like alongside of you and stuff. And I feel like, you know, that's when you see, because obviously like I played left wing, you played left back. Our chemistry was obviously there because we've been playing with each other. But then I think like when you see like how we started compared to how we finished that first year and the chemistry that we built over the year, it was like, bro, it was night and day. Like it was night and day. Like we were basically making passes to each other without looking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know, like so just within that one first year, our level raised, and like not just me and you, like the whole team. And then you take it to the second year where we didn't really like lose anybody, I don't think. Like, and we just added a couple pieces.
We lost Borges. That was the only thing.
Yeah, so like Borges left.
We lost Borges, added Mo.
Exactly. So like it's like you know, like you couldn't ask for anything better. So either we have Borges or we have Mo. Yeah. I'll take either one of them. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so we added Mo, and then like, you know, like everything was from the way we left it, and we just kept elevating it, and you know, we just kept doing that over the year. And I think like that's what was the difference between Forge and a lot of these other teams, is that we had a core group of players from the start, rather than, you know, switching it up every year and taking players and picking players from different teams to put them on. We were set from the start.
It's never seemed like you guys like broke out at the start of the season like gangbusters either. It seems like you guys consistently built throughout the season. Like it might have been, and again, obviously someone who was never in the locker room, never even around it, but it seemed like it, not necessarily that there were new tactics or anything, but it was like, okay, everything's building. And then the timing of like, oh, here they go. Yeah. And they're on a run.
We literally at the right time. All
and they're going through playoffs,
bro. But that was the thing. Like you look at Forge and like, it's like, bro, always every year, the first like couple games are terrible. Games are terrible, and then, you know, we start to like gradually, you know, get our feet beneath us and stuff like that, and build, and then by the end of the season, it's just like flying.
Yeah. No, every single year it was like that. You were like, okay, they're not running away with it, but they're around, they're hanging around, and then all of a sudden it was like, wait, what's their record in the last 10 games? Oh, they're 9-1 all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and playoffs
So
start in 3 weeks.
I'm
Ah, man, how?
gonna give y'all a little tidbit, and I'm gonna see if I can get him because this guy, but obviously me and Chris both played for Coach Bobby growing up, but like we were kind of scared of him because he's a totalitarian. Like he knows it too, and we tell him, and like he looks at us and he'll laugh about it. Because now that we're older, we can have this conversation with him. But when we were younger, we're like, we'd be talking shit to ourselves, like, man, this guy, bro, like what the fuck? Like we'd be complaining. But now we're older, I'm like, it's crazy. You would think other teams would try to copy the formula that Forge has. Like it's not even anything that's crazy. Look at let's say Barcelona, who revolutionized the game when they started the tiki taka. Everybody in the world started playing tiki taka. Like you would try to be like, yo, what's Forge doing right that has them in the finals every 4 times? And Chris said it, bro. Consistency in the squad, finding a way to keep everyone happy. Like obviously not over the moon. Like everyone, imagine for a team like Forge that had me, Chris, Borges, Becker, Omar Brown, Dom, Tristan Henry, David Edgar, Mo Babuli. Like imagine a team like that having no egos. It's impossible. But you have to have a coach who, as crazy as much as you guys don't know because he doesn't say anything, has a bigger ego and a bigger presence in the locker room than all of us. Because
It's true,
a
bro.
lot of us, yeah.
Hey, look
It's
at
like
Arsene
nobody
Wenger at
knows Bobby.
Arsenal, Sir Alex
Yeah,
Ferguson at United, like Klopp,
that's what I mean,
Guardiola.
bro. How you see them in the outside, you're like, oh, this guy, like Bobby is humble and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but when he comes to us, how he speaks to us, it's like, damn, he got that dog in him. So then you're like, okay, we got to have that dog in it. So like everything else goes out the window. Our ego that we have is just for us to play at our best. People don't understand. We used to do film before training, after training. Bro, guys would be like this in film, half asleep, like, yo, trying to keep
Yep.
ourselves. That's so much work we put in to make ourselves good. Bro, we started preseason 2 weeks before everyone, every year I was there.
Yeah.
And you be looking at Bobby, you're like, bro, like, why are we doing this? And then you win, you're like, damn, like, we gonna keep doing this because we keep winning. So it's like, sometimes I'm like, yo, guys, why don't we just like fold for the whole league so then we don't be miserable during preseason? But like, he gets the competitiveness out of us. Any game that we play bad, he tells us straight up, and he'll tell us in the locker room, but he won't let us take any of the heat. He deflects a lot of the criticism. He takes the criticism on the chin, and then because he's been in those top tier professional environments, Ajax, Olympiacos, all those big clubs, he knows exactly. He's like, hey, how do I get the best out of the players that I have, and how do I do it efficiently? And as mad as we would be sometimes at training, at each other, at the coaching staff, at how things were run, the guys would come back the next day, pull up their socks and start grafting again. And you can see it in the COVID. And because we were in all those competitions, like we had a lot of motivation for us to like, yo, we need to stay on task because guys had goals. And that's another thing. You have to have guys that had goals for the team and for themselves. Because
Yeah, I
then
was just
people are
about to
just
say that.
playing just to play.
Yeah, I
Right?
was just about
Guys
to
were
say that.
motivated. Yeah.
Like
Guys
a
were
lot, if you look
motivated.
at, I was gonna say, like if you look at a lot of the players on Forge throughout the years and stuff, you have guys that like want like they looked at the CPL, like these guys looked at the CPL as just something to push us to somewhere else, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys, like I guarantee a lot of guys would like tell you, like probably not say it to your face or whatever, or say it like on media or whatever like that, but they would tell you like on the side that like they actually don't want to be there. Like not just like, I'm not just saying at Forge, like they don't want to be in the CPL. They want to be somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And then you look at the other teams and then like you see like guys that like, you know, they're happy to just like have signed
To be
and
there.
all this stuff and
Happy
like
to
just
be there.
happy to be there and be able to call themselves pro. They don't really like have any ambition to go anywhere else. Like this is like the top of what they think professionalism is. So
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. And then the only thing I would say from the outside looking in, and this was like why year one, it was not a shock why it was you and Cavalry at the top. But obviously, Bobby knew the players already. You know what I mean? So it was easier for him to get the most out of you guys because obviously you grew up playing for him. And there's a lot of you that had experience with him, right? Same thing with Tommy and Calvary with all the Foothills guys. Even if it was just in summer when he had him in PDL, like you'd look at Joel Waterman was there. He only played for him for a summer, but he knew exactly how to get the most out of Joel from that summer, right? And I think you can see that now with Pacific, where again they've built a lot of their group through the Whitecaps youth system. Well, Pamadou Ka and Jamie Merriman both coached in that system. So they're really familiar with those players. So it makes sense why, if you look at those, specifically those three, why they've had more success than other ones. When you look at Valor, like Rob was from Winnipeg, but they're not bringing a lot of Winnipeg players in. It's not like he's had experience working with a lot of those players prior, right? So you look at like the roster construction is one of those things that's just fucking genius from the start. Genius. Bring in the core group of guys he knows how to get the most out of, and then filling them in with other players around. And I mean, you guys can probably talk about this way better than I can, but if someone didn't work, I'm sure it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, 100%. But it was like, and the thing is, it was like that from when we were kids. Chris can testify to this. Like, it got to an age where, like, obviously in youth soccer, everybody's got to play this and that. Bobby cut that shit out when we were like 13, 14.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, just because you're here doesn't mean you're gonna play. Like, bro, this guy, if we had 3 games in 1 week, he would play the same 11 dudes. Unless you were hurting, he's playing the same 11, 13 dudes every game. Yeah. And you can see gradually guys are falling off. Gradually, and it's literally
there was guys that knew they were like a bench player. Yeah, there were guys that knew they were the bench player. They knew they were gonna get a couple minutes, whatever. Like they were just there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's even on Sigma, where we handpicked some of the best players like in the area. So it's like, yo, like he stopped that stuff from like a early time, like and
early time.
Yeah, like so, but like, and then at the same time, it's like all of our teams still went to like college and stuff. So
yeah. So that's a testament, obviously, to us too, because Bobby got us when we were obviously coming from youth soccer, and then he never, because usually when you go through, I told you this too, Adam, like usually when you go through youth ranks, you get passed on to the next coach. Bobby was like, nah, I'm coaching these dudes until they leave to college, bro. So like 5 years in a row, like this guy's our head coach. We play in OSL U21 league, and we play OSL men's league. Then we play League One Ontario. So like he always put things ahead of us, where it's like, hey man, if you want to, because like we were always looking at how do we play the next level. So obviously our regular team, we would play U21, and then when U21 got easy for some of us, like when Chris started scoring hat tricks every game, and like I'm getting like 3, and like he said, all right, and now y'all are playing men's league, but only a couple of us. So you can see people kind of like pulling away from each other at a younger age. And then it's like we used to go to training every week just to make the League One. When we heard League One was coming, we used to go to training every week. Be like, yo, just to make the League One roster, bro. Guys are putting in shifts. Like, if you didn't make
that's the
League
thing
One
too,
roster,
like,
you thought your world collapsed.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, but like, you know, you had those guys that were pulling away, but then the group, like the guys that we had, like the group that was behind and stuff, we like when we would train together, like the level would still be high, and we were like kind of like carrying them along, right? So like they were still getting better, and they were still better than a lot of players from different teams and stuff like that.
100%.
So it's like they were like still like evolving in themselves. It just like not at the same speed and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
same rate.
Yeah,
and the environment you guys
pace.
create all of a sudden now allows them to improve. And now the second you guys pull away, well, someone now needs to step in.
Yeah,
and they're like,
and they're like, okay, like I see these guys. It's like within our own team, it's like I see these guys playing in League One and stuff. Want to play in League One? I want to go play in League One. You know what I'm saying? It's like he was doing. He so then when like, we had a way of it was like building a way of doing that within one team, and like within like a couple age different, like couple year age different. What like Canada soccer is basically trying to do from like grassroots to professional, you know, like they're trying to like, okay, you see all these pros playing pro now. Okay, now we're gonna inspire the younger generation to go and do that and get better and like bring them along. But like it was with Sigma, it was like you're doing that within like the one team. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And even like for us, like even like the 95 age group, we were like inspiring some of like the older guys to do that too as well.
Yeah,
it was weird. Like it was
that's what's crazy because we used to so like from the 93 age group to like the 97 age group. So let's say like 60 kids. Like most of the guys that were on the League One team were not on the 93 age group and the 95 age group. 93 age group, most because like you need men, obviously, in the League One. When League One first started, like it was men. And then the 95 was because like we were just the best team. But then you're inspiring like the guys in the 96, 97, like, all right, how did they get to the League One? Okay, I need to be the best in U21. Then when I'm the best in U21, I got to be the best in men's league. And then when I'm the best there, then I'm gonna get a League One call up. And like people used to treat the League One call up, even if they didn't play, they were like, "Yo, I got called up to League One." Like it was like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
100%. So
yeah, guys would be like, "Yo, I'm not coming to training today. I'm going to League One, bro."
Yeah, it was one of those, bro. It was dope. Like when the youth guys get called up to the first team, you're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go train with the first team." Bro, it was crazy, like the competitive nature. Then when you get to the League One and you get a taste of that, you're like, "Nah, I'm not going back." So then obviously that was back in the day, and then he created that system in Forge. We were able to win the finals, and the rivalry that we created with Calgary went on for the next 3 years that I was there. The second year, the COVID Cup was different, definitely different.
Yeah.
We were in, where was it, PEI for the whole time?
Probably the same as the NBA being in Miami, eh? Same thing.
Yeah, almost. Except we look like zoo animals because we had cages and everybody else around us was just looking at us, no mask on or anything. It was so sad. Adam, it was sad.
Oh my
God,
sad,
bro. We were trying to ask people.
Like,
we were trying to ask people through the cage to go get us like ice cream and stuff, bro.
Yeah, bro.
They're knocking on the cage.
Yeah, bro. It was wild, like literally like zoo animals, bro. And for us to go through that was insane because we were getting tested for like COVID tested literally every day or every other day. We would everyone train on the same field. So when you're coming to the field, the other team was coming off. So you're literally seeing a team that you're going to be playing tomorrow or the next game coming off the field. And like, you're really not trying to interact with anyone. You know what I mean? You're wearing your mask 24/7, all that stuff. Like obviously it played into it, but we were able to come out with the championship. I think that one, I think the first title was obviously the best, but the second one was nice because like it made me understand how important soccer was in my life. I don't know how it was for you, but because like the world stopped for 8 months and we weren't able to do anything, I was like, nah, man, the next time I get to play, even when we came back, we had the separate groups. I'm like, the next time I get to touch the ball on the field and yo, man, I'm not taking this shit for granted.
Yeah, it definitely put things into perspective. Like as quick as like all this like, became a thing and everything like that, like it could be taken away, bro. Like at any time. And then you don't know how long this is going to even like last and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because at one point, like there was not going to be a season for the whole year. And it's like, yo, that's like a year of our career gone. And then they like, obviously the government, like everything seemed like it was just going backwards. And like nobody knew like when we're going to start back up again and all this stuff. And then we were like, yo, like I could have just did all this work to make it pro and play pro and stuff. And then I'm not even going to see like any years of pro. Like,
shit was sad, bro. Shit was sad, bro. But yeah, so we ended up winning that back-to-back championship. We know how that went. We played Drake back-to-back the whole time back. But the work wasn't done, bro. We were one of the teams that had to, obviously we started CONCACAF League. So we had to fly to, where was our first trip? Was to El Salvador.
Yeah.
El Salvador. And then we had to go to Panama.
Mm-hmm.
We get that big win in Panama against Tower FC, and that hotel is probably the greatest place ever. The rooftop hotel with the rooftop pool. Damn. That place was crazy. And then we have a chance to qualify for the Champions League, and we lose to the Haitian team. Until this day, we had G and Dom on the pod. Until this day,
bro, G, you owe me money. You owe me money.
Bro, he tries to blame it on me. He said, yo, why'd you pass the ball back to me? I'm like, bro, you could have got a coffee, read a newspaper, and still cleared the ball out.
Fam, this is how I know he had bare time. Because he had time to take a touch and pause and look up and then run after the ball. Bro, like, just kick it out, man. Like,
Yo,
Holy.
and what made it, I think, also put that whole year 2020 into perspective was that was the game that basically David Edgar went out on.
Yeah.
That ended his career. So you remember his reaction in the locker room. We'll keep that between ourselves, but
Oh yeah.
his reaction to that mistake in the locker room. And then we had a second opportunity to qualify against Marathon. And I think at that point, guys were so far gone. We were like, yo, this COVID year has been a drag. We went to El Salvador, went to Panama, we went to Dominican. Dominican was nice. We were there for 2 weeks before we played the Haitian team at a resort. The Fanta, bussin'.
That was like
the Fanta at the resort, bro, is probably the second best drink after McDonald's Sprite. I promise you, second best. Bro. And then we went to Honduras, 4 countries in a span of what, a month and a half.
Yeah.
So just traveling during COVID was not easy. And going through that, like going into the third year, we went back to back. What were your expectations? And what was Forge's expectations going into 2021? We started the year in July. You know how that went.
Yeah. I don't know what I expected actually going into that year, because like we just won 2 championships. And then it's like, like, yeah, obviously everybody wanted to three-peat and stuff like that. Like everybody on our team, it's a winning environment. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to go and do better things. So like everybody wants to win. And then what was it? We started and we started off bad, no? Like we started off
as always.
Yeah, we started off terrible again. And I feel like that year too, like everybody like was just getting on each other, like especially in the start, like what the hell are we doing and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we eventually we get over the hump and we turn it up. But like, yeah, like going into that, I didn't know what I was expecting, but I was just like, I think like a lot of us were just happy we were gonna have like a more like full season to showcase ourselves, to play and everything, and like things were kind of getting back to natural and stuff. So like everybody was happy in that sense. But at the same time, like everybody was still like recovering. I feel like at the start of the season, everybody was still recovering because we were playing soccer for so long because due to like COVID and shit, like extending it basically the next year. And we were traveling to country and country. So like, I feel like we didn't even like get like a real big like off season or anything like that. So it was tough to like for us to wrap our heads around it. But I think, yeah, I don't even know. I don't know what like exactly I was expecting, but
I mean, it makes sense why you guys were kind of on each other too. Like that much time going through COVID. Well, that's the thing. It's just so much time together. And then also with COVID, like now travel's restricted. So now you're probably waiting a little bit. Like everyone's little habits, you're probably like, this fucking guy, if he fucking breathes any fucking louder,
like on a normal,
someone like biting their nails. I just like, you can just imagine where normally you'd be like, fuck it, who cares?
Yeah. Like on a normal travel day, you're like, okay, whatever. Like I'm gonna be home in like a couple hours, whatever, blah blah blah. But like, yo, COVID extended that, and like, bro, it's just like like all those things you get like used to. It's just like out the door, and it's just like, man, there's no real like schedule here. There's no real like,
Yeah. And then it gets pent up, and now you're in training, and you're like, I want to fucking knock this guy out already because he breathes so fucking loud or eats too loud or something, and then it just.
But sorry to cut you off, but I think obviously the start of the season, we thought we were gonna start early February, and then they were like, yeah, nah, like the restrictions not really letting us do this and that, and then we would come train, like half of us. Remember we were training with Jacob in the gym. And we'll do gym work, and then we'll do like two touch and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? And then when we were finally allowed to have training, like I said, Bobby be finding ways. He's like we had to go to an open park. They said you can only be on an open park. And
Tom Brady workouts, eh?
Yeah, we were doing the open park workouts, and like right beside like a little park. Like, just imagine being in the middle of like a turf field in the middle of nowhere beside a kid's playground. And we were training there, getting ready because Ontario restrictions were worse than every other team. So every other team had a head start. We had 10 days of preseason to prepare for the month or 5 weeks we had in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And you could tell why we started off 0-2. We lost our first 2 games, I think. Lost to Edmonton and we lost to Valor. The first game, Austin Ritchie scored a banger, and then the man scored from like half against us, the Unsua guy, whatever. I was like, all right, guys are gonna keep scoring bangers, and we're not gonna win any games. And then we started off 500. We started off 4-4. The food in Winnipeg was terrible. We couldn't go outside. The smog in Winnipeg was terrible. Just playing in the summer, hot turf. Everybody's like, yo, Valor resurgence, this, and that. Like, I'm like, bro, they're playing at home. Like, they're allowed to have fans. When we're playing this other team, there's no other fans.
Yeah, they're like, Valor's gonna go on and win everything. I'm like, bro, just watch when we come out of this and we go to the regular.
I think that's what started us getting this is what started getting us angry.
I was gonna actually ask that.
Because we were like, yo, we're making these guys look like they're the best team in the world. We're giving them we're giving them hype, like they're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like it was just like it wasn't up to our standard, and we're just like, yo, we're making these guys look like they're like the defending champions. And
we had a lot of pressure. We had a lot of pressure on us too, because that's when we got Josh Navarro from Costa Rica, Omar Brown, got Mo, we got Borges back. Yeah, so it was like everybody's like, nah, bro, y'all bugging. Like, yo, we got
just when you think the roster couldn't get any better, and like, bro, it got better, and then like everybody's like, okay, Forge has to take this. Like,
yeah. And then
I was gonna ask, do you guys feel the narrative shift at all when you start like that? Also, did you guys start to feel like the narrative where you're almost like, not that anyone's rooting against you, but it's almost like, oh, well, what's wrong? And like, that's kind of the whole narrative.
People are.
I'm saying from like the media perspective.
Bro, everybody's rooting against us, bro. Even the media, bro.
I have a story. I have a story about that, but I'll talk about it later. But yeah, I think it's rooting against us. But then there's people, when you talk behind closed doors, that will tell you the truth. But they have to kind of hype the league. So you have to build stories. Like, you have to have those kind of storylines where like it's click worthy, where it's like, oh, Valor, like what happened to Forge? People are gonna talk about that. But if Forge is just continuously winning, no one's gonna care anymore, because like Forge is just killing everybody. So we kind of helped the name of the CPL. But honestly, for me, going into that third year, like I knew it was my last year at Forge, 110%. Like I had the conversations and everything. I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna resign. Like I'm trying to go out with a bang. Like, we gonna play these games in Winnipeg, and then we get back to our home markets. That's when we gonna turn up. And turn up we did. As soon as we went back, like, yo, in the summertime, we went on a 13-game unbeaten streak or something like that. Like, we was just cooking everyone. I was like, damn. Like, games that we should have never won, we were just winning and just going home. We're like, all right, let's go win this game, go back. Like, time of our lives. The guys were having a great time. Like, the energy in the locker room, guys were still kind of like fed up with each other, because we've had the same guys around each other, and like Bobby don't really give days off, so you're with each other 24/7, and you could tell there's little tension here and there on certain things, because you're like, we won the league back to back, we were one game away from qualifying Champions League. We were thinking things would get better, like environment wise. We got little things in the locker room and stuff like that, but we would thought we'd be treated a lot better. How everyone thinks Forge is treated is not how Forge is treated. Chris can say, like, the stuff that we have is because we won. But even though we've won and put the CPL on the map, we still like Barcelona can get away with paying the refs and all that stuff. Man City can get away with the money situation and stuff like that, because how much they bring to the league, how much eyes they bring to the league and stuff. Like, they kind of turn the blind eye on certain things, right? We didn't get none of that leeway. So people think like, yo, Forge gets this, Forge. I'm like, bro, what do you think? We getting something? We driving back and forth from Toronto and Hamilton every day.
Yeah.
Sleeping in a hotel room in our own city, because our coach wants us to be.
Yeah. And when you talk to when you talk to other players, like at other teams, about like their markets and like how it is over there, and they have like, you know, their bad stories or whatever it is, and then you tell them like some things about, you know, you tell them some things about like Forge, and they're like, oh shoot, yo, I didn't know it was like that over there. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're like shocked, because they think, bro, every other team just thinks like, you know, Forge is just you like steps ahead of everybody, and you get you get this and that, you get whatever you want and all this stuff. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you got
no,
the
bro,
red
it's not like,
carpet laid out for you.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like, no,
nah.
bro, it's not like that.
Earned. It's earned, bro. It's earned. So 2021, we start the season, obviously, like I said, 500. But you also have other things in mind. You start your company, Kicked Up Culture, that you're wearing right now, and I'm wearing right now.
Yes, sir.
Oversized tee, Janet Aiko, you know, the cap, you know what I mean, Kicked Up. We will get into that, but obviously you started that part. Everyone knows you were the team barber. So you hustling. You on the field
Yeah.
hustling, you off the field hustling, everything. And that's obviously a testament to how you were raised and like obviously your grind and what you know how to do. But 2021, we go from July to the beginning of December, 40 games in 5 months.
Yeah.
That first in its own thing, that's two games a week. And how many countries did we go to? We went to El Salvador, we went to Panama again, we went to Costa Rica, we went to Honduras, and we went to that was it because we played was it Lament? No, FAS.
Mm-hmm.
We played Independiente. We played our Costa Rican team, and then we played Montagua.
Yeah.
So doing all of that, traveling to 4 countries, and then still finishing in first in the CPL, going to the CPL final. What did you think about us losing the final? And I know we can agree on this. Our team's main focus was qualifying for Champions League that year. Yeah. And once we were able to do that, it kind of lessened the blow of not winning the final at home. How did you view it?
Like, obviously, you know, you want to win as much as you can and win all the titles and stuff like that. I didn't see it like as a loss, like a be all and end all loss. Cause like, obviously, yeah, we qualified and everything like that. And like, you look at the year that we had and, you know, whereas all these teams are just focused, every other team in the league is just focused on winning the championship, like winning the CPL. And so they're training for that. You know, they're getting extended periods of rest and all this stuff. And we're literally killing our bodies day in and day out, traveling to different countries, playing, I don't even know how many more games than other teams, and everything like that. So like we have a more intensive schedule than everybody else from the jump. And, you know, like there's nothing that can be done about that, like in the CPL to lighten that blow off of us and like, you know, give us more rest in some days because other teams have to play too. And like, they're going to have to play us because every team has a certain amount of games in the league. Right. So like, like, I think that, you know, us still being able to achieve what we did in that year still shows that we are like the top team in the league. And that, like, because if you look, bro, no other team in the league could have done what we did. No other team in the league could have even got close, bro. Even the team that won it all, which is Pacific, bro, you put them in our situation, they are not doing that. They are not doing it. And I know, like, I'll say that now, like, I'll say that, right, like, myself, whatever, but I know if I ask some of the guys on that team, like, face to face, I know they will agree and say, like, yeah, like, we didn't have the team to do that. You know, like, maybe if they had a better team, they could do it and stuff, but that team that they had that year and stuff, like, I know they didn't have the team to do that. And like some of their guys came over to our team too. So like we had Aaron and Hojabapur, Alessandro. So like they've said stuff too, like how they like Forge better and stuff like that. And it's a different way of playing style and everything that they kind of mesh with well and like better and stuff. And you know, like those guys can be a testament to that. I know like Pacific wouldn't be able to do that, along with other teams in the league wouldn't be able to do that, especially because they don't have the experience in those environments either. Like their players don't have the experience in that. So what we were still able to do that year is definitely a win in itself for us and for Canada Soccer and putting Canada Soccer on the map.
Oh, massively. Oh my God. I think like, and that was one of the coolest things kind of following it as a fan and stuff, is almost all the and the different storylines that you guys were able to create through all that, where you're like, oh, they're down. They're not going to come back again, are they?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they did.
Yeah,
Oh my God, they did.
Getting tired, bro.
Like, it was just like, and it eventually got to the point where you're like, yeah, they're down. Yeah, we'll see in like 85th minute, they're going to score. Oh, they did. Yeah. Josh Navarro comes up with a big goal.
Yeah, it's like we're playing games, bro, with the media or something, yo. We're just like, you guys think we're beat? No, we're not.
Yeah,
no, we're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro,
Chris, just really quickly, I kind of want to talk about kind of one of the more interesting things. Obviously, Kwame's in the middle of his career, and then he's now starting a podcast with us, and kind of looking at this thing with yourself starting your company. When did you first kind of get the idea of being like, hey, I would like to do something more than just on the football side? Obviously, it's like kicked up culture and kicked up cuts, like it's still connected to football and all this stuff, because I don't think any of us can go without that. But being totally honest with you, but like, when did you first kind of have the idea, and then what made you decide to jump into it during your career?
Yeah, so I think like all of this stuff kind of like built up on me throughout like even my childhood and stuff too. Like, for example, like going overseas and like and I think like soccer is basically what kind of got me into these things. But going overseas, like seeing different like clothing styles and fashion and different haircuts and stuff. And then growing up, you see, Kwame said I had like the Neymar haircut, and I changed my hairstyle so many times, like
you dye
so
it
many
and everything
times.
or what?
Yeah, I was always that kid with like the weird haircuts, designs everywhere and everything like that. But yeah, and then I started cutting hair in basic. I want to say I started doing like my own hair, and I'm doing my lineup in grade 12, because my high school had like a cosmetology class, and I would sneak down there, and like they would, and like just fix up my hair and shit like that. I wasn't even in the class, but I would sneak down there and be like, okay, teacher, I'm going to the washroom, sneak down there, make sure I was always fresh and stuff. And then like when I went away, since I was traveling so much and I went away to college and stuff, I didn't have a barber. So I was like, okay, like I'm going to teach myself how to cut my hair. And then I started doing that, and everybody started noticing, like my teammates started noticing, saying like, oh, like, why is your hair always cut and stuff? Like, why is your hair always fresh? Like, I'm like, yo, I can do it myself. They're like, okay, can you do mine? And then I'm like, I could try. So like, yeah, like it did.
Yeah, I was thinking, she used to be like, yo, I can do it on myself. I don't know about on other people. I was like, damn, like, bro, you let me know when you get a couple test dummies, bro.
So yeah, like I started trying on other people, like just giving them like basic haircuts and stuff like that. Like it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. It was all right. It was decent. It could pass. But then yeah, I just kept with it, and I kept getting better and better. And then when I came back to when I came to play for Forge, I remember I was having a conversation with Kwame too, and like we were always. I feel like with me and Kwame, I think like our connection outside of soccer and like the things we would talk about like in the hotel rooms, because we were always roommates and stuff, was like different like business stuff and everything like that. Because like I went to school.
How do we get the bread? How do we get the moolah?
It, yo. We're money driven and stuff like that. So I mean, like I went to school for economics and stuff too. So like I'm kind of business minded and everything like that. And I feel like me and Kwame were always thinking like ahead and like what we're gonna do next and everything. So yeah, like when I came back in 2019 and like Kwame came and everything like that, we were talking and everything, and he's like, yo, like and like I always had the idea of like starting like a business, and like cutting hair would be something I would want to do. And then Kwame's like, yo, like bro, like why don't you just do it? Like we just start it now. And like I'm always like the guy that's like, I have an idea, but I'll hold off until like the idea is perfect.
I'm not going like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Kwame's like, yo, bro, just start it now. And then like, yeah, and then I ended up doing it, like, made a logo, all that stuff, started from the bottom and everything. And then, like, I feel like it just started to build really quick, like, and way quicker than I expected. And then I'm like, like I'm still traveling. I'm not able to cut everybody's hair when I'm home and stuff, like, cause I was cutting like random people's hair and stuff too now, not just my teammates. And I'm like, okay, like, what's another way I can like make money and like keep eyes on my brand and stuff like that, like, or keep eyes on like like the hair cutting or whatever it is when I'm not there and I'm traveling for soccer. So I'm like, let me like make some hoodies and stuff for like the for the hair cutting and stuff. So I started that, and then I fell in love with like the kind of like the design process and everything, because like I love fashion and stuff. So then I started just making like regular like everyday clothes and everything like that, and it kind of built from there. And like I've been learning as I go along, and like how everything works, and like different, like the difference between like buying things and the difference between going to manufacturers and logos and sizing and all that stuff. So yeah, it's like a growing process, but I'm learning it. I'm learning it as I go along, and I'm loving it still. And like I think the thing that like kind of made me love it too is that obviously over the years I've had like a lot of injuries with when I'm playing when I've been on Forge and stuff too. So like I've needed something outside of soccer to keep my spirits up and keep me like entertained and everything like that. So I think that's what this gives me, and that's kind of like what helps me put more effort into it and everything like that, and gives me like the passion for it, because it's something that makes me happy when like the ups and downs of soccer are like kind of like messing with my head and everything like that. So yeah, like it's been taking off, and like I wouldn't change anything about it, and like gotta be thankful to Kwame for giving me that little jump start too.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro. I had to tell this guy. I'm like, dog, I think I forgot what was happening. I'm like, yo, we were like doing cold tubs or something. This guy was talking. I'm like, bro, you cut everyone's hair that we obviously know. Like I said in the beginning, we have a group chat of 8 people in our group that we've had since 9th grade, bro. We were 13. We were 27. So like 14 years of this coming from regular text message from like an LG rumor to BBM to iPhone. Like, yo, like we've evolved, like, and ever since he started cutting hair, we were like, nah. It was a way for him to get his self out there as a barber. Like when we went to the COVID Cup, he was cutting every other person's hair in our bedroom. Like other players, like Marco Bustos will pull up, get a haircut. I'm like, dog, yo, you having something there. And then just for me myself, I was like, yo, Chris, you know me. I like to talk to a lot of people. I talk to everyone. Like I'm a person that I like to network with people. Like I think that's my best personality trait, my best quality as a person. So I'm like, I like to network with people. I know people in like probably every sector. Yeah. And it's just about being good and respectful to people, and like they're not really using them, just actually genuinely getting to know what they do. So like we were able to ask like Nora Stankovic, who's like one of the big media people that takes pictures, videos, all that stuff, with Charlie, to do something with him that has to do with like kicked up culture and stuff like that, just taking pictures and stuff, just to get it on the map. And then like little by little, people started recognizing it. And the thing I like about it the most is like we keep it within like the family. And when I say the family, I'm talking about like me, Chris, Markel, Christian, like the guys that are in the group chat. You know what I mean? Like it started there. All the ideas that we have, we always go to that group chat first and see what the boys think, because you're gonna get the honest, brutal. You're gonna get the brutal honesty.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be like, yo, Chris, that's trash.
Yeah, like I sent a few designs in that group chat, and they're like, yo, like, nah, that's not it. That's not the one.
It's not it. That's not the one.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's like, it's never anything. We're not tearing him down. We're just like, yo, you can do better than that. Yeah. So it's like,
no, but those are the people you want in the room. You want someone 100. To tell you like, that's fucking sick, like great idea. Or no.
I'm not. Yeah. If I didn't have that, like I wouldn't be growing. Like I'd just be on the same thing, making garbage designs that I was making in the past and stuff like that. And then, but like, I think like with all this, like this brand and everything too, I think it's like a way to slightly like take me out of my comfort zone too. Cause you say like Kwame's like a people person, like going everywhere, talking to people, whatever. Like, and then like the way I grew up, it was like, I like just stuck to myself. I wasn't the one to like, to go everywhere and talk to people and stuff like that. And like, I was obviously like traveling on my own and like sticking to myself and stuff. So like, I feel like this now is a way for me to like get out of that bubble and like be more, like be more talkative to people. Like, for example, I'm cutting somebody's hair. I have to talk to them for an hour. I'm doing.
I don't think anyone trusts a silent barber, if I'm being honest with
you can't be a silent barber, bro. Like max you can go is like 5 minutes without talking to the guy, bro. Like that's just awkward. But like I'm doing photo shoots. I'm working with new people, like talking to different people from different countries for like designs and all this stuff. So I feel like it's a way for me to like connect to different people and stuff. And like that's what one of my things is, like that's the main focus of my brand is like the community. So like building up the community, having people a part of like that are like in this close community, a part of it. So like you see a lot of my photo shoots, they're the people that are modeling and everything, they're local models or they're my boys. Like Kwame's done photos for me, Duran's done photos for me, Markel cuts hair with me. So you know, like a lot of what you see happening is like the inner community and stuff like that. We've done fundraisers for you know the community and everything like that too. We've raised awareness for Black Lives Matter and everything like that. So it's just a way of me kind of like bringing myself to the table, bringing myself to the community, and like having the community bring themselves back to me. So
No, it's fucking wicked,
Yeah.
man. No, I love it.
Yeah.
And it looks sick, like your little setup there at Boxing Day.
Yeah,
you turned
yeah,
right there and
that's it
Kwame
too.
went out. Like it looked wicked.
That's
I'm a West Coast boy, so I don't think I'll ever
yeah.
be out there for it. But
That's literally what it's all about, bro. I love doing like the pop-up shops like that. So, you know, like when Marcus reached out to me about, you know, potentially doing it and stuff like that, I was like, yo, like if I'm here on that day, like I'm down for it. Like if I'm in the country or whatever, I'm on that day, I'm doing it. And then, you know, like I'll make it a regular thing. I'll do it every year, like because that's you know, that's a way for, you know, my brand to connect to what I love, which is soccer as well, too, even more. So yeah, those are definitely things that, you know, I enjoy doing.
Yeah, I think definitely like once he started it, I was like, dog, because we've grown up in the soccer community and especially in the GTA where there's a lot of people and like the fashion in Toronto and all that stuff, like we understand how people want to dress or how people want to interact with each other, how like what people want. Like I think it made soccer obviously created all this network and all these opportunities for us to like most soccer, if you look at most soccer players, we all usually dress the same. So if you're able to hit that lane, you're going to be able to target everyone that you've ever played soccer with. There are boys that play soccer. There are children that play soccer. Like it's just going to keep going and going. Like we usually all wear the same things, obviously different builds, but like we all going like Zara. We all going, you know what I mean? But like, why can't kick the culture be the next like Zara? Like be the local thing. You know what I mean? So I mean, I'm happy for you, but what is next? Like, what's the next big project for Kicked Up Culture?
Yeah, man. So honestly, like I've been thinking and I've been talking to you know guys like Duran. I've been mentioning I've been meaning to contact you with it too as well. Is like an idea that I've been coming up with is doing like camps and like individual training for kids and stuff. Whether it's individual training or small groups. And you know having it a part of the brand, so you know give kids the opportunity to you know just have kids be able to have the opportunities that I had growing up and stuff like that, and be able to work with you know professionals and stuff. So like you know like having them do individual trainings, but also like what I want to make a big part of it is like giving them that mentor piece, where I think that a lot of kids like before like us like and stuff like that, we didn't have that mentor piece, like, okay, this is how it's going to be when you go to college, or this is how it's going to be when you go pro. You know what I'm saying? Like those different lanes and stuff, and like all the information that comes with that. So I like, for example, like I want to do like classes where it's like, okay, you can sign up for the month, and then it's like you get maybe like 1 or 2 training sessions a week, and then but you also have a like a Zoom
FaceTime
call
or
something.
Skype call, Zoom call.
FaceTime or Zoom call or something where you're talking to like, for example, me or somebody that's played pro, like, you know, like you or Duran or something like that. And then, you know, we also have a plethora of teammates that have played pro or went to college that have information to give to the younger generation. And so it's like, you know, like it will make a kid's day where he gets on a Zoom call and, you know, a guy like Richie Larea is on the Zoom call. And it's like, yo, like, you know, I'm connecting with a professional player who, you know, I've been watching my whole life basically. So I think that's like an idea I want to see come to life for my brand next.
No, that's definitely a great show. I mean, Adam, you could talk about it more because you work with youth players around that age, and like obviously when we were growing up, we didn't really have anyone because we were like the first generation of professional athletes in our family. It's like literally like we were the first one. So like just seeing guys growing up and you're like, wow, like these guys are everything's more accessible now. The information is there. What you need to learn is there. Like it's just about how you getting it, how you gonna structure it in a way to get it out to kids properly.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I've like the thing I really like there, Chris, is you talked about like the different pathways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Understanding and having someone who's been a part of it going like being a pro at 18 isn't be all end all.
Yeah.
You can go here, you can continue to develop different ways in which you can try and develop. And if you do those things, the opportunity is still going to be there for you at 22, 23.
Yeah.
And again, for these kids now, I mean, that opportunity might still be there for them at 26, 27.
That's what I'm
If the
saying. Even in
CPL
the
continues
CPL,
to grow, right? Like
yeah.
ideally it's going to continue to grow, and
Yeah.
you know, you can still have a career and do those things, you know. So no, I really like that. And obviously, you know, being a part of a company that works with a lot of kids who are trying to go to school and stuff, like, yeah, there's this information piece that is missing so massively. And with technology and everything to be able to now help bridge that gap, it can be such a good, it can be, it's so valuable.
Yeah.
It's tough. There's a lot of, because the thing is, like, obviously everything's so accessible, like you said, Adam, but there's so much bad information out there because the kids will just generally just go and search whatever and think that's like what it is. Obviously there's a big, like the whole Andrew Tate thing. Like, instead of people actually researching properly, the first thing they see, they're going to take it as the word of God. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, yeah, it's literally just structuring it in a way where, like, you have people with a good background and stuff like that have won both ways, and bringing it to show them, like, yo, this is what we're giving you, and this is what you can experience with going this route and going the next route. Like, obviously there's differences and there's pros and cons, but we're going to give you everything you need, and then you can make the decision after that.
Yeah.
There's definitely a way to kind of get away. And again, if you restrict kind of what you do, you kind of get away from that information overload, Kwame, which is what you talked about, where if you look 100%. Up how to go to college into Google, I mean, fuck, how are you going to get through a scholarship? Like, how to exactly that kind of stuff, right? Like, there's way too much information out there that it's like you're reading and you're only going to take what's repeated most of it. But you're just going to take what's repeated most rather than what's actually applicable, right? So again, there's that information overload part. And if you have it where you have reliable sources and it's coming from like a singular location, like, it makes it that much more valuable. Like I said, like there's so much doing something like that. So no, it's fucking awesome, Chris. It's really cool to hear that that's kind of the next direction.
Yeah, man, Chris, you let me know when you need me. You know what I mean? I just gotta adjust my coaching flyer a little bit.
He's not that desperate yet.
Yeah, you let me know. I gotta make some adjustments, and I gotta be able to walk first. Right now, I'm kind of on one leg, so we gonna figure that out. But yeah, I think we touched base on almost everything. I mean, now that the CPL is starting this weekend, first games are tomorrow. Are there any games on Sunday, Adam? Or is it all tomorrow?
No, there's 3 tomorrow. Okay. So
3 tomorrow, and now. Then I guess 3 tomorrow and then 1 on Sunday.
Yeah. So tomorrow, Atletico play Halifax in the first game, then Forge Cavalry in the second game, and the day ends with Pacific versus Vancouver. And then on Sunday, it's York versus Valor.
All right, so guys, we are starting a new segment where we got to make a name for this. We got to call it Bet That. Be a real New Yorker. Bet. you gotta say you gotta make a real name for this. But we are gonna go through a couple of games in the EPL and the CPL. I mean, adding other leagues is gonna be kind of tough because there's a lot going on.
But, yeah, we'll figure that out. I mean, I think it'll primarily be a CPL and maybe an MLS thing. MLS, but we'll add like singular types of games.
I got a bone to pick with the MLS. Oh, and sorry, I gotta backtrack. The thing that I was gonna tell you about the whole Forge thing. So after we lost in the final, we go upstairs, like everybody's still happy, celebrating. Like, oh, at least we qualified for Champions League. I see Gareth Wheeler, and he goes to me. He was like, honestly, I respect everything that you guys did this year. He's like, because that season in 5 months, I played 40 games, and he was like, the fact that like you played every single game. And yet we had Canadian Championship, CONCACAF League, and the league. He's like, the fact that you played all those games and came within an inch of winning the final. He's like, yo, your whole season is not determined by this one game. He's like, obviously we got to make headlines and stuff like that, but we only do it because or else there's no way we're gonna get the popularity of the league out there. And that's when I became more I was in tune with the business side and the networking side. And what made me want to do podcasting and sports broadcasting, when you see like Micah Richards getting roasted on CBS. That shit's so funny. But like what made it's like to understand how these guys think. I think having one-on-one conversations, obviously we had with Christian Jack and having conversations with Gareth Wheeler, Adam Jenkins. Another thing, I was invited to call the CONCACAF Champions League game that Forge had against Cruz Azul, but I wanted to go watch it in person. Adam Jenkins like, you could come to the studio in Mississauga and call the game with me, or I was like, oh, I'm already on. Like, I was like, damn, that would have been my first like taste that actually like. Imagine me calling a game with my hood self. It'd be like, yo, yeah, like that shit would have been crazy. But like, it let me understand like how these guys think, and like, I don't take everything reporters say or not reporters, journalists, all those stuff to heart, because they also have to do their job. You know what I mean? I've been watching First Take since I can remember, since like I got to the States, and that's like what 10 years ago. And seeing Stephen A. Smith and all those guys do what they do, like they know behind the scenes that like everything they're saying is not probably going to be 100% like what they're really thinking, but to keep things in motion, to keep eyes on the league, like I understand why Adam Jenkins or Christian Jack or Gareth Wheeler and those guys say what they say. But that's why I'm happy a guy like Jordan Wilson went to One Soccer, because now you get the player point of view, that from someone that was already there and in the locker room day in, day out, played at a high level, was the captain of York and all that stuff. Now you have the back and forth, like how you see on every other talking show. So just talk about that. But anyway, sorry to go on a little soliloquy, but fast forward. So we have the games. First game, which one do you want? Which games do you want?
Yeah, so you know what we'll
okay.
do? You know, okay, this is the way it's gonna work, right? So we're gonna pick, I think, roughly 6 games per week. That way, Kwame and I have to pick 3 games each. However, you can't pick the same game. So if I choose, so for instance, Pacific Vancouver, I'm gonna take that game first.
Okay, of course, West Coast. I mean, and I'm gonna take Forge Cavalry first.
There you go. Cool. So again, so if I take Pacific Vancouver, so my first pick, I'm gonna pick Pacific to win. Kwame now can't take that game at all. So he has to pick, he's gonna pick Forge Cavalry. I then can't take that game. So you have to take, there's 6 total games. Each of us has to take 3, and we'll keep a running tally.
We can get all of it wrong, or whoever gets the most right.
We're gonna keep it tied. We're gonna keep posting. So after every single weekend when we post, we'll post on social media what the record was for that week, what the total record is, and that's gonna keep building. So that's gonna be kind of the idea. Chris here is gonna weigh in with some opinions for sure.
Yes, sir.
Some of these games, and so you have to pick a win, a tie, or I guess whoever's gonna win, or if there's gonna be a draw.
For this one, let Chris just give his opinion on all of them. Let's see, because we're not gonna have him on every week all the time. So let him see.
I know.
Let's see what you say, Chris. Let's go. Let's hear this.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Throw out a game, and then I'll say what I.
Okay. Pacific Vancouver. I'm gonna take Pacific. We'll start with that one.
I say Pacific too, just because of the fact that Vancouver is a new team coming into the league. They're still trying to mesh and stuff. And Pacific shows that they're a top team in the league. I would say top 3, top 4 team in the league. So I'm gonna go with Pacific.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, it's Vancouver's. They're away from home, so it's at Pacific.
Okay.
And adding Kakuta Mane and Isan Ungaro.
Oh shoot, I forgot about that. We forgot.
Actually, Kakuta Mane is a massive signing for the league, by the way.
Yeah.
Like for 100%. The whole league. Even my 100%. Buddy from the UK actually texted me. He goes, "Seriously? He was in MLS last year," kind of thing. And that's one of those signings where you're like, this is awesome, because either he's going to raise the level, or you're going to show like, okay, this guy has been playing in MLS his whole career, and look at
that means people are that level.
We're that close. Like they're close, you know what I mean? So it's an awesome signing for the league. Obviously, I think it helps Pacific now with having lost Bustos and Wiro Diaz last year, adding Ungaro and him. That's why I'm going with them. So I'm taking Pacific. Chris, totally agree with everything you said there.
All right.
Kwame, next one.
Forge and Calvary.
Forge and Calvary. Okay.
That's a tough one.
I'm mixed on this.
I think the reason why the home, it matters, where they're playing matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Whereas for
we just
Pacific
spent
and
the last
Vancouver,
2 hours talking about how shitty Forge start seasons.
That's what I'm saying. So like I'm torn between the two because
don't worry.
Forge.
Don't worry. I'll tell you my shit. Okay. You say what you gonna say, and then you go, and then
Okay.
I'll
So I'm gonna
that.
say, I honestly I'm just gonna go and say I'm gonna say it's a draw. But then I'm saying like it could go either way because Forge historically just doesn't start a season well. And Calvary, like, you know, like I don't know, like Calvary has Forge's numbers sometimes, but like I think Forge has added pieces that are, you know, like that will elevate the game and stuff. And they have the team on paper to win it all again. And you know, they have guys that have played, they just signed Manjakar, who's played in Champions League and stuff like that. Like
that's what I'm saying, bro. These guys are cheaters.
So like it's like
how you lose Daniel Crutzen and then add Mandraker, bro.
Yeah, it's not fair,
came from
bro.
Sigma too.
Yeah, and then and then like obviously I talked to the guys and stuff like that, and then, you know, they just had a great a few results in Costa Rica as well too. So yeah, like I don't know, man. It could go either way, but I feel like the everything's leaning towards Forge.
Kwame, what's your pick, buddy?
I ain't gonna lie, me and Chris have the same mind, bro. I think it's gonna be a draw. I was talking smack things on the fence. I think it's gonna be a draw. Technically, I just think because, like Chris said, like we don't really start well, and obviously I have inside information. Like I watched them play their last preseason game, and it wasn't like it was bad, but it was definitely like it was still seeing guys like they were still in preseason mode. So I don't know, and I was just there last week, so I don't know how it's gonna really just switch on in a week like that. And Bobby in preseason, how he is, he kind of like he doesn't have a set lineup. Usually when you get closer to the beginning of the season, you know who's going to be the starting 11. Whereas Bobby, like you have no idea until you pull up on game day. And that's been there like that for 3 years. Like for me personally, when I was there, I was like, okay, if I didn't start, I would be like, wait, what? But then like I started most of the games, but the lineups would definitely change, especially the front six, like from the front five, the two attacking midfielders, the front three, like you don't even know. So just not knowing, and for attackers, especially when they don't know they're starting or anything like that, it could throw off their whole game day routine. You know what I mean? So I don't know if there's going to be a lot of goals. Both of those teams are solid defensively, and it's the first game of the season. They're going to throw everything at each other. I think it goes 1-1.
All right, you're going with a draw. Yeah. I like that. All right, so the next game I'll take York and Valor on the Sunday.
York and Valor. Where's
the game?
Yeah, at York.
At York, yeah. I'm gonna say York. I'm gonna go with York. I feel like they they did well last season at closer to the end of the season, I think, mid to the end. You know, I think right when they brought in like Mo and stuff. So I think he's a big piece for them. That's like a player to watch in that game. And then, you know, they've added Johnny Grant, who's I know he's healthy now, and he's he's firing on all cylinders. I think he's a big piece for them this year. So yeah, I think I'm gonna take York with this one. I know Valor has also lost a few guys like Dyer, and then what was their left back's name again?
The one that came from Vancouver. What's his name? Brett Levy?
Yeah, Levi.
Levi.
Yeah, so I know those two headed down to Tulsa. So those are some big pieces for them that they lost this year. So I think that's gonna kind of hurt them. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with York.
They lost Kevin Alleman as well too. Wow.
Yeah.
They lost some guys. They added some, like Marcello Polisi came over from Halifax. So they definitely added some. Yeah, that's kind of why I took it. I know it's a really tough one. But yeah, no, you know what? I'll go York, Chris. I'll follow your advice there as well. Because
again, are we doing scores, or are we just doing
just oh my god, buddy, we're gonna go 0 for a million if we try and pick fucking scores on top of this. Are you kidding me?
Yo, put me on money line, bro.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, so I'll take York. I'll take York for that one. And then Kwame, last one for you is Atletico against Halifax. It's in Ottawa.
It's in Ottawa.
Yeah.
In Ottawa.
Okay. I think, oh damn, I don't know. I believe in Patrice as a coach, because like we used to play Vaughn all the time.
Oh yeah.
And damn, bro, like I understand like he is a really, 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 really good coach. But I just don't think that they have the firepower because their best Joao Morelli's coming off an injury. He was out for the whole season last year. So like he needs to wet his feet again.
Yeah.
And then like they added a lot of guys that obviously Patrice knows from Vaughn, but
then again, it's like
Aiden
first time
Daniels,
pro.
first time
Are
pro
they
and all that
ready?
stuff.
Are they ready to
That's
step
the
in
thing.
right away?
I don't know,
and play 90?
and I don't know if they can like TD plays when Atletico Ottawa plays. It's actually a good atmosphere for the time that I've played there. It's a great atmosphere, and those guys have a chip on their shoulder from losing in the final as well. They're well led by veteran guys. They have the Player of the Year there, so I'll go Ottawa.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ottawa.
I agree with that.
If it was at Halifax, it might be a little different because then again, you're throwing in playing on grass
fans.
compared to the
It's a different atmosphere over there.
atmosphere.
The
It's
size,
also
the
you're
size
revved
of the
up.
pitch.
You're revved, like even if it's your first program, like you're revved up. It's in front of your home fans, like all that stuff. But that it's going to be an interesting one for sure. And then the last two. So Kwame, I'll let you choose first this one. All right. So we're going to take the 2 Sunday games in the Premier League. So it's either Man United against Nottingham Forest at Forest or Arsenal against West Ham at West Ham. 2 massive games. So there's top 4 implications and title
honestly,
implications on this one.
Shout out to Arsenal. Shout out to Arsenal Fan TV. Still, I want to take Arsenal. The Gunners. Shout out to my man Troops. Shout out to my man Troops, bro.
Buddy, he's losing his mind right now. He's like, Zinchenko's costing us the Prem. He's fucking losing his mind.
Bro, I got to shout out to my man Troops. He walked onto a movie set today in New York because he's in New York now, and you're just randomly walking onto a movie set and you're just talking smack. And I was like, wow, this guy's actually just living. You can't take the hood out of a man, bro. He just hood. But shout out Arsenal Fan TV. I'm going Arsenal, bro. Their starting 11 has seemed to stay healthy except for Gabriel Jesus at one time, but like Trossard came in, filled the shoes perfectly, and that's what I said. Remember we said it earlier, like if that starting 11 can stay healthy, then they can do some damage. But if any of them get injured, then they have no replacements because like the top half of the team is way better than the bottom half. So that was the difference. It's not like Man City where everyone's nice. You sub in Mahrez, take out Mahrez.
You don't have superstars on the bench.
But fucking John Stones plays center midfield for them now. It's absolutely disgusting.
That's what I mean. Man U, I can't take that Man U game. First of all, I don't really like Man U. Sorry, Adam.
I don't care. I don't like Arsenal.
Secondly, yes, I know because it's a rivalry. Secondly, Man United got way too many injuries for me to even think about that game. And Nottingham is too flip-flop. I don't trust them. But at home, they're great. So
yeah, I know.
I'll take Arsenal. And West Ham's been trash, so I'm taking Arsenal.
Yeah, it's a derby though. It's a derby though, man. That's a London derby. Like
taking Arsenal
at West Ham, they're fighting for relegation. All right, sounds good. Great. Now I got the United game. Fuck. I was actually hoping you'd take that one because they've got so many injuries. Casemiro's suspended still.
Varane's injured.
Varane, Martinez, Rashford's injured. Eriksen, I don't think is healthy enough. Maguire.
Okay.
Well, Luke Shaw's been injured too, right? So it's one of those ones. Like it's not looking great. If I'm being honest with you, but
the Red Devil in you gotta pick Man U, bro.
I just think like you said about Nottingham Forest, I think they've had too many. It's almost like the Chelsea issue where they've bought way too many players, and you're trying to get all of them now to play together. When some of them don't speak the language, they're not used to the climate, like all of these different things. And I think like it's too big of a game for United to drop. And that's the one thing is that they've typically won the games against the lower level teams that they should have. Which they haven't done before. And I think Ten Hag will have a reasonably good side that he'll be able to. I'm going to take United. And part of me hates
the man went through hoops just to say he'll take United, bro. Wow, bro. He'll take United,
he said, I hate United, but this and this and this. I'm going to take
I hate betting on them. I hate betting on them unless I'm watching them play. Because like I'll watch them play, and depending on how they start, I might go, ooh, maybe I'll take a tie in this one. under or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll take United to win. They need to win it for top 4 anyway. So it's a
Yeah.
pretty big game.
Yeah.
Fun fact: a guy from Nottingham Forest, Lewis O'Brien, actually got signed to DC United this past like month or something like that. And I think under their books, I think they signed like 45 people. That's why they have so many people on loan.
It's ridiculous,
Nottingham.
man. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know how they've got the money to do all that. I imagine they get relegated. Holy shit. Losing on all that money, like
everybody, yeah. I don't know. Their owners somehow Costa and Bobby know them. So because they're Greek. Greek owners, bro. Greek people just stay together, bro. I don't know, bro. So
pretty small island. It's a pretty small country.
Yeah. So, but like, yeah, Richie and Lewis, they told me like there's a lot of people that are under the books because obviously how they got into the Prem, like they went on a crazy run the second half of the championship season, and they ended up getting to. So then when you get to Prem, you're scrambling to sign big name players for you to stay up, but then you already have other guys that are already on the books. So it's like,
yeah.
That's just how it goes, bro. But yeah, I mean, Chris, thank you. I know we kept you longer than I said we would, but F you.
Wow.
Oh, I'm kidding, nah, but yo, thank you again, man. Like I said, we can always chop it up whenever you want. If there's anything that you want to promote, anybody that you want to shout out, feel free. Last thing is like, yo, what's next for you, and what are you looking forward to the most, bro?
Yeah, I mean, for me, next is I'm gonna go down to America and play this summer. Trying to still keep myself connected with the pro environment, and try to get some games in. I've had a couple of tough years with injuries and stuff like that, so I feel like I need to get some games in, try to stay healthy, and have something to show. And yeah, like one last push to kind of stay pro. But yeah, other than that, the brand and the hair cutting is always still there, still trying to build that and everything like that. So yeah, like everybody that's helped me with that, and everybody that continues to help me with that along the way, thank you to you. Thank you to everybody that supports me. Soccer, in life in general, whatever it is. A shout out to you guys here at FTF. Kwame, longtime friend, and you guys, the rest of you guys at FTF, for having me over Boxing Day and stuff like that, and having me on the podcast. You continue to show love and support. So yeah, and then everybody could follow me, personal Instagram at Chris Nanco, and then my business Instagram at Kicked Up Culture. So yeah, you can follow me on there and see what's going on next with everything there. But yeah.
Yeah, we will definitely tag your brand, tag you obviously in all the clips that we put up. I'll let you know when we're about to put up some stuff. For those who do not know where they can buy your stuff, we're gonna put that up as well. I think I still have some clips from the Boxing Day tournament, so I'll put up probably a reel or something like that on our page again, just for people to get familiar. You have some new stuff that's coming in that I'm definitely gonna cop.
The new stuff is like polos, shorts, like summer stuff, polo shorts, t-shirts, hats, all that stuff. I think I'm gonna release some girls cropped like tank tops and stuff like that too as well. So yeah, just a bunch of different stuff, different looks and everything. So yeah.
100%. Taking care of the soccer world, taking care of the fashion world. One of my closest friends, Cocoa Powder. People that don't know, we live and direct. We live and direct from the Cocoa Powder group chat. Thank you again, bro. I appreciate it. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.